I'm Yvonne Orley. I'm a Kamilaroi, proud Kamilaroi woman, which is northern New South Wales, is part of southeast Queensland. And I was born in the Royal Brisbane Hospital off country, so I've got a foot in each field. I'm in my 70s, so I'm saying that because I've been 50 years working in health-related fields. I am a registered nurse, and I've also done studies in QUT in health education and health advancement and public health and all of that sort of area. I'm currently working in with people with intellectual disability and mental illness. I have an accommodation and also an NDIS service. I've also worked with Professor Brownlee, Arthur Brownlee, in the early days of Griffith University. He was a founding professor of Griffith University on working with doing research on families who were in outlying suburbs and their healthcare needs. And also another project was working with homeless youth. And so that's the sort of context of what I've been working. And I was also the National Better Health self-help healthcare program person, which came in hand with primary healthcare when it came into vogue. So what I thought I could contribute is also not just answer the questions, but also the changes that have happened over time on how we view health and psychology. The other thing that I omitted to say was I've also was invited by Oxfam with a small group of people to do a course on community development. And I learned a lot from that about community engagement and Aboriginal people. That is one of the major factors, is engagement and the processes of engaging people in research.
I'm Olivia Evans. I'm a Gomeroi woman, so my mob's from sort of northwestish New South Wales. Sometimes you'll hear Gomeroi said Gamilaroi or Kamilaroi. My auntie tells me to pronounce it Gomeroi, so I do what she says, but we're all the same mob. I grew up on a Wabikal land, which is in Newcastle, and I have a PhD in social psychology. My research is broadly on the social and cultural determinants of health, also looking at racism and attitudes towards Indigenous Australians. And I teach a course at the Australian National University, where I'm a research fellow. I teach a course on culture and psychology, so looking at critical approaches, critical lenses on psychology, Indigenous psychology and decolonising psychology. So I did all of my undergrad and postgrad studies at the University of Newcastle. And so that's sort of where I grew up and spent my childhood. Newcastle has an Indigenous hub called Wallatuka, and I was running through the hallways of that institute from a very young age because my auntie has worked and studied there for many years. I think the number one thing, sort of looking back now as a fully fledged, almost adult researcher, I look back and really reflect on how I was taught statistics in a very black and white way. I'm not meaning to criticize teachers of stats and methods at all, because I certainly wouldn't sign up to do that, and it must be a very difficult job. But you're taught, like, if you have this data and this methodology, then you do, if you have X data, you do Y analysis. And statistics are actually much more of a grey area and an elaborate decision-making process than what it's sort of taught to you as in undergrad, or at least what I was taught in undergrad. And it's as a researcher now, it's a very rare data set where you simply like take the data you collected and run like a simple t-test or something without having to make a bunch of compromises and decisions and consult forums where people are arguing back and forth about how to handle missing data or something like that. So it's a lot more complex and and nuance than what you sort of learn in especially undergrad statistics.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really enjoyed the methods courses I took as well, but I didn't really know, like I didn't get a sense from them that I liked research. It wasn't until I was in my honours year that I thought, oh, this is really cool, like getting to ask research questions and develop stuff to like answer those questions. That's when I really like took a bit of a shining to doing statistics and method stuff as a job.
I'm Emily. I'm a postdoctoral fellow over here at QUT, so I'm also acknowledging the lands of the Dominion people. I'm a Palawa, so my ancestral lands in the southeast region down in Tasmania. I am actually a provisional psychologist because I am in the last stages of completing my PhD. So very close to ending, but very exciting at the same time. So as most psychologists and psychology students would know, the training is long and across many years. So I'm from the Gold Coast originally, so I was born and raised on Yaga Bear country. And so I started my training at Bond University there, my undergrad. I went to Deakin for my 4th year and then went straight into my combined master's doctorate at Swinburne down in Naarm, where I've been living for the last 6 years until recently. And of stats, it has gotten better, much better. The first 3 stat subjects in undergrad were painful. But in 4th year, I had just like an epiphany and it started making sense in contexts. Right. And so I feel like that's how I have to learn in the environment and the setting and have a bit more of a relationship with the data that I'm looking into because it fuels the passion a bit more.